So usually what I recommend, because I cannot teach math, like all of you know math, right? And then there's calculators and all that good stuff. But what I can tell you is I'm going to give you a few hints on how to understand what the question is. Take the information out, put it into a tool that I give you guys right here, right in the middle. Actually, two tools that I'm giving it to you. And then in these tools, from these tools, you're going to transfer to your calculator, and it should give you correct answers. So once you understand how to use these, and how to understand also what's being asked of you, right, then everything should be simple. All right? So everybody has an extra piece of paper, right? Your notebook?
Yeah.
Okay, is there anybody that doesn't? All right, so you have to leave.
I mean, I'll take the walk in the hall.
Oh, you got it? Perfect, because you're going to need it. So here's what we have first. We're going to start with percentages. Percentages. And it says right here, many real estate computations are based on the calculation of percentages. Percent means per 100 or per 100 parts. For example, and you have that on your cheat sheet, right on the top left, 50% means 50 parts of the possible 100 parts that make up the whole. Percentages greater than 100% contain more than one whole unit, because 100% is a whole, so one. Thus, 163% is one whole unit plus 63 parts of another. Now it says right here, unless the calculator with a percent key is being used, the percentage must be converted to either a decimal or to a fraction. I'm not going to go into fractions. I'm going to make it simple, decimals. The other simple part of it, your calculator has a percentage key, so, learn how to use it. It's very helpful if you don't know how to turn this into decimals. So, to convert to a decimal, I have it in green. We move the decimal sign 2 places to the left and drop the percent sign. I was actually hoping Michael would be here so you could teach the math. But anyway, gotta work with what we got. So 60% equals 0.6, 175% equals 1.75. All right, so here's what we have. This is 100% or 1, okay? Let's say here we have Pac-Man. I already turned it the other way so it doesn't look like it. Right? So, and let's say this right here is 75%. So what we have here is 1, right? And then 75%, which equals 1.75. 75. It's 100% plus that 75%. You got it? So every time we take a slice, so think this about a pizza pie, right? We took 25% out here. Every time we take a slice, it reduces. So 0.75%. If they ask you about your commission, let's say you took a 6% commission, right? Let me erase this. How much is left? 94. You took 6% commission, 94% is left. All right, this is very important for a question that's going to come up in a little bit. All right. We're going to tell you. So we have 100% here. So if it's 6%, then we move decimals to the left, right? So 6%. We're going to move decimals to the left and put a dot right there. This means 0.06, and you drop the percent sign. So if you were to put on the calculator, it would be, let's say, $100,000, the sales price, times 0.06. It gives you the result. Luckily, calculators do have a percent key. So $100,000 times 6% gives you the same result, just in case. All right? You guys good with this? Easy, right? What's not so easy is when the calculator gives you everything but a percent. Right? So they give you the 1.75 in this example here, and you have to convert it to percentage. Well, just do the opposite. If we move 2 to the left, now we move 2 to the right and add the percent sign. Got it? So this is the basic. I cannot teach you much. What I'm going to teach you is now understanding questions. So one thing you need to understand is that percentage problems always contain 3 elements. There's the percentage itself, there's a total, and there's a part. Okay? Percentage, total, and part. To determine this specific percentage of a whole, we multiply that percentage by the whole. So percent times whole equals part. So if we have 5% times 200 equals 10. And here is a great example. But I need you to use your calculators, okay? So here's a great example. We have a broker is to receive a 7% commission on the sale of a $100,000 house. What is the broker's commission? Now, I'm not asking for the answer yet. What I'm trying to point out is very simple. Look up for a second. I'm trying to point out just one simple thing. 2 elements were given to you. You got to calculate the third. In some of the questions, as we'll go later on, you have to calculate 2 elements to reach a third, and that third one goes into another calculation, okay? Like taxes. Taxes are based on assessed value, not based on market value. Insurance. Insurance is based on insurable value, not based on market value. So you need to calculate the percentage twice, okay? Now, to help you determine when to do what, multiply or divide, in the center of that cheat sheet, I gave you a tool, and I call that the steering wheel. Yep. So if you guys look at it.
This is for us to keep, right?
Yeah, that's yours. I was thinking about charging per copy, but then, yeah, let me include it.
You're so kind.
I am. Right there. I used to have a student that everything I said I was going to include or not include, goes like, hey, I already paid for it. I get it. Go to another school and see what they include. All right, so if you guys look at the cheat sheet that I gave you, right in the middle, you have the steering wheel, and then you have the ninja face or emoji, right? Right? And then I have there written, I have part, portion, or income, right? And then we have here on the left, I have value, total, or base. And on the right, I have percentage, rate, percentage, or interest, okay? So these are the 3 empty spots. All right, got Matthew on the line. Hey, Matt. So here's the thing. We have part, percentage, and value. These are the 3 elements that we have for percentage problems. If they gave you 2 of them in the question, and you don't know when to multiply or when to divide, then let me show you. What numbers were given? $100,000 as the sale, so that's the value, right? What do I put here in value? 100,000. And then it said, how much commission? That's percentage, right? 7%, or 0.07, right? So what I want you guys to do is realize that here in the bottom, if the numbers are at the bottom, what do? Multiply. So do me a favor, 100,000 on your calculator. I know this is easy, but it will not be easy as we go along. So right now, easy numbers. Give it a try in the calculators. I'm going to show you how perfect this is. 100,000 times 7% is
7,000.
right. 7,000. Great. What if the question was, let's take this out now. What if the question was, I'm going to show you again, as I keep on repeating this. I'm going to show you how perfect the steering wheel is. What if the question was, on the sale of a $100,000 house, the broker received $7,000. What was the commission rate? Okay, or the percentage. So all we have to do, if there's a number on top and a number at the bottom, what do we do?
Divide.
Divide. So do me a favor, calculators. $7,000 divided by 100,000. It's 0.07 or 7%. But wait, I'm not done. I'm actually going to prove that it is perfect, just like this circle that I drew, because I'm amazing at drawing circles. No assistance whatsoever from this computer or tablet, not at all. I very steady hands. So what if the question was, I'm giving you the three variables of the question, right? What if the question was, a broker is to receive $7,000 commission after charging a 7% interest rate. What was the sales price of the house? Well, number on top, number on the bottom, what do we do?
Divide.
Divide. Do me that favor. 7,000 divided by 0.07 or 7%.
100,000.
Well, we know the answer. Just want to make sure your calculators work. I just want to make sure your calculators work. Okay. Did it work for everybody? All right. So far, it's perfect. Three variables of the question, two elements were given, and we figure out the third. The biggest problem that people have when it comes to the calculation itself is knowing when to divide or when to multiply. This helps you. Just fill in the blanks. It's the best system ever, right? The other problem is knowing how to read. And you guys know the ABCs, right? But knowing how to read the question is the problem. Okay? So let's figure this out. Matt likes the steering wheel. By the end of this chapter, you guys are going to wish you had this back in school. It's so helpful. I wish I had it. All right, so rates. Next page. Property taxes, transfer taxes, and insurance premiums are usually expressed as rates. Now, the rate is the cost expressed as the amount of cost per unit. For example, tax might be computed at the rate of $5 per $100 of assessed value. The formula for computing rates is value divided by unit times rate per unit equals total. And what I'm telling you is, forget that formula. You ready? Okay. So forget the formula. I'm going to show you a bunch of formulas here that I have to. Right? In chapter 16, we talked about formulas as well. Now I'm going to repeat them here. I'm going to tell you to forget all of them. Focus on the steering wheel and the stuff that I gave you. You'll never need a formula for the rest of your life. Unless you go into scientific stuff or engineering. A little bit more complicated. Then you need scientific calculators, as we were talking about before, the rest of your team. But your brain is good enough? Perfect. So here's a question. A house has been assessed at $90,000 and is taxed at an annual rate of $2.50 per $100 of assessed valuation. What is the yearly tax? Before you start calculating, before you go anywhere, let me show you something. The formula here says value divided by units, right? So that means we would have to divide 90,000 by 100. I'm going to show you how not to do that skip a step, shorten everything, go straight to the answers. Who would like that? Easy, right? So here's the thing. $2. Matthew, this is chapter 22. Math. So $2.50 per $100 of assessed valuation. $2.50, right? Per $100. Now, I told you earlier that percent means per 100. So all you have to do here, forget the divide by 100. All you have to do, take the dollar sign out, add the percent sign. So it's not $2.50, it's 2.5%. If it said per thousand, the story is different. It says per 100, and every time you see per 100 means percent. So why should I be dividing by $100? Don't have to. Go straight to 2.5%. So in this scenario, you're trying to confirm my theory? We will right now. In this scenario, what numbers we have? 90,000, right? That's the assessed value. Where does that go? Where it says value, right? What else we have? 2.5%, right? If it's at the bottom, what do? You multiply. So calculators, 90,000 times 2.5%. It's 2,250. Now this is your annual tax, right? Let's say you forgot, so I'm going to give you the variables. Let's say you forgot the percent. Let's say you forgot to divide by unit, by 100. Okay, so these are the two ways to do it. The number is going to be 90,000 times 2.5, which is $2.50. If you put that on your calculator, it's going to give you $225,000. Now that's a big number. So let's think about it in terms of logic. We have $90,000 worth of value on this property, taxable value, right? And our taxes are going to be $225,000. How's your yearly tax larger than the value of the house? Doesn't make sense, right? So something is wrong. Go back to the question. Most likely you forgot to either divide by 100 or you forgot that what you needed was the percent. But if you look at the answers, there's one answer that matches, it's just without these two zeros. Okay? The other variable to this question would be, what is the monthly tax? Well, this number right here is the annual, always. So if they ask you for monthly, what would you do? Divide by 12. All right, we're going to repeat this a couple of times in this chapter. Did it work?
I was checking the 1,000.
You were checking what?
The 1,000.
Oh, and I said per 1,000?
Yeah.
Well, it's different because it's not percent.
But it works also. If you do 4%, you just gotta move that zero one more time.
I'm sorry, say it again?
You just gotta move that zero one more time.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's a 4%.
That's a quarter, but
But it works.
it works. It works, yes. Matthew was asking why 12. Oh, this number, Matthew, is always annual. So if they ask you for the monthly, we got 12 months, so we divide by 12. Okay? All right, question. Did you guys understand this right here?
Yes.
Simple, right? Take the dollar out, add the percent, and we're good to go. Okay. Try and simplify your life here. You guys still gonna complicate it regardless, but I'm trying. So, we answered this. right at the bottom it says, bless you. Right at the bottom. Are you getting lost?
No, my calculator's on.
You gotta play what?
It's going a little nutty.
Oh. Where did you get it from? So, a home was purchased a year ago for $172,300. That was the value, the purchase price. Property in the neighborhood is said to be increasing in value at a rate of 3% annually. Make sure you're paying attention to me and not to the book right now. Okay? Or to your calculators. I'm trying to show you what the question is, not just the numbers. Because if you go by the numbers that are here, you're going to be wrong. Okay? Actually, there's an extra step. That's all it is, if you just follow the numbers here. So, home was purchased a year ago for $172,300. Property in the neighborhood is said to be increasing in value at a rate of 3% annually. What is the current market value of the real estate? So I want you guys to give me the numbers. What do we have?
Value is 172,300.
Hold on. So value is 172, 300. What else we have? What is it?
3%.
What is it?
3.
Wrong.
Oh.
Told you guys are going to be wrong if you went by these numbers.
Oh, because you do the opposite, you do it at 97%.
No.
Oh.
It says property is increasing in value. So we have one whole pie plus a percentage of another one.
So it's 97.
It's 100% plus 3%. 103% is the current value. I'm sorry?
You're skipping the extra step.
Well, it's not skipping, I'm making it simpler. Because you still have the same step, 100 plus 3.
Correct.
The difference is this one you can calculate out at the top of your head. And what I'm about to show you, I'm going to give you the two variables. The other one, you need a calculator, depending on the number, right? So, number you need here is 1.03. Calculators. What's the answer? 177,469. This is the current market value because that's what they asked. You bought it a year ago. I gotta get used to the mirror thing. A year ago, you bought it for 172,300. Increased in value. Today, it's worth 177,469. Right? If you guys used 3% as you were trying to, the answer would have been 5,169. But they're not asking how much it increased in value. If the question was how much it increased, well, 5,169. They're asking what's the current market value. So if you got to this number, you now would have to go 172,300 plus 5,169, which is 177,469. All right? So all I'm trying to show you, simple way, hard way. Right.
I'm a little confused as to the 100 and the 3.
See, we're used to the other way.
But like,
I know you're used to it.
What indicated that in the question?
It increased in value.
So just the word increase means that you already have the whole, and then the increase is the 3%.
Correct.
Okay.
So if I make a pizza pie, right, it's ready. That's what I made. And then I increased another 3% of a second pizza pie. So additional 3%. So I still have the whole, right, plus 3%. If it said decreased in value, we're taking a slice out. So it's 100,000 minus the 3%. That's all it is.
So you want us to learn terminology of all these chapters and try to figure out, dissect these questions to know a whole pie?
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm telling you, once you figure out how to use the steering wheel, the next thing is just knowing how to interpret the question. But again, you wouldn't be wrong because there's no answer that will tell you 5,169. So you would know that you would have to add 172,300 plus 5,169. I'm just trying to give you a shortcut. Top of your head and calculator. Either way works. And I'm not your math teacher in school that says you have to follow my process. You can have the same result, but if the process is wrong, you failed. I'm not going to do that. You got it? If you have your own way to get there, do it. I really don't care as long as you got the right answer. Okay? Good. We can also go into Common Core. Anybody? Common Core math?
Shut it.
Study, right?
That's the devil's work, okay?
The devil's work. All right. Matthew's asking if it's okay to use the other way. Yes, it is. He just said thumbs up to the Common Core. Nope. All right. You learned how to do this in my previous video. Unbelievable. I think he's going to pass the exam. All right, so as I was saying, in this case, the base is the original purchase price of the home, so $172,300. The increase is not the rate. It would be if the question asked how much the house appreciated. So that would be the $5,169. So the rate we need is what the house is now worth, which is 103% of the original value, because it's worth 3% more. Got it? And luckily they're not asking about 2, 3, 4, 5 years, because if it said 3% per year, then you have to add the 3% every year. So math in the state exam is going to be very simple, very straightforward, nothing complex at all. Okay? All right, cool. On the right-hand side, ready? It says the IRV formula presented in Chapter 16 is basic to investment problems. It's the same as the PRV, the one we've been doing so far. And IRV means income equals rates times value. Does anybody remember this formula? There's 3 types of appraising strategies, right? We have, or approaches. We have the sales comparison approach, we have the cost approach, and we have the income approach. In the income approach, we assume that income determines the value of the property. So the more net income the property brings, the more the property is worth. You remember that? Just say yes.
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 All right, love it. So I gave you that formula, the variables of the formula, and all that stuff. So it says right here, an investor wants to make an offer on an apartment building whose annual income is $225,000 after deducting for expenses. To go through with the purchase, the investor insists on the 10% capitalization rate, or cap rate. What is the most that she would pay for the property? Now, I want you to look at the question and tell me how many numbers we have here. 2. So we have 2 elements, and we're looking for a third element. Yes? I don't need you to remember the formula. I just need you to remember the steering wheel. And if you guys look at the cheat sheet I gave you, where does income go? Part, right? Right on top. And where does rate go? Always? Percentage. So they want 10%, so 0.1. And income is $225,000. This is the annual NOI. On top is always the annual number. We're going to highlight that in a second. And it's net operating income. You cannot put anything in this top part that is not the net. So if there's expenses, you need to deduct the expenses before you put it there. Okay? And the question was, how much would she pay for it? 2 elements. We're going to go to the third. How much is this property worth? $2,250,000. 23,000. Did your calculators work for this? Give it a try. I want to make sure calculators work. I'm sorry? Today's working? Great. 2,250,000. I mean, a property that brings $225,000 net to your pocket every year? Absolutely. He says all these numbers are making me dizzy. It's only 2 million, Matthew. You'll make more than that. All right. You guys good? Oh, that was Karen, not Matthew. Sorry, Matt. So Karen, you're dizzy? Is it the numbers or not feeling well? All right, steering wheel, perfect so far? Any formula here? No formulas whatsoever. All you have to do is fill in the blanks.
The correct spaces. The correct spaces.
Yep. Cool. Next. Important point. Wait, it's me and the numbers? I'm making you dizzy too? Karen, what's the question? See, this is bad. We don't have a wall supporter, but now she's at home saying that I'm making her dizzy. Important point at the bottom. It says, if in any IRV or PRV problem, the rate, which is interest, appreciation, etc., is usually an annual rate, and income is annual income. So that what goes on top is always annual. So if the monthly income is given, we multiply it by 12 before using it in the circle. Here's an example. Maria Suarez owns a 4-family home. Rents are $525, $575, $600, and $650 per month. Her operating expenses average $375 a month. If investors expect a cap rate of 11%, what should she expect to receive for the property? Well, the first thing we have to do is add all the rents, subtract the expenses. So 525 plus 575 plus 600 plus 650 minus 375. The net monthly income is 1,975. That's the net monthly. Is monthly the number we need? No. So we need to multiply by 12 to calculate I, which is the annual net operating income. Make sure you highlight, you underline, you circle, you put bubbles, arrows, whatever you can put here, but annual net operating income. So 1975 times 12 equals 23,700. Sonia says hearts are missing. Sprinkles, fairy dust, unicorns, all that stuff. Whatever works. So 23,700, that's the income. Income goes on top. Rate is at the bottom always. What do? Top divides by the bottom. How much is this property worth? $215,454.54. Tell me math is hard. You just got to learn what to take from the question, dump it in there. That's it. Right? So now we're done with the steering wheel. Now we get into area. And volume I'm going to skip because there's no question in the state exam about volume. You don't need to know how many cubic feet in this, right? Unless you're selling pools. Anyway, so area and volume. To compute the area of a square or rectangular parcel, we use the formula width times length equals area. Now, the area of a rectangular lot measures 100 feet wide by 200 feet deep is 100 times 200, which equals 20,000 square feet. Now, what I've done to make it simple for you guys, I created a system similar to the steering wheel. Okay? It's in your cheat sheet. And instead of having a steering wheel, because there's 3 elements, the concept is exactly the same. There's 3 elements to area, which is width, length, area. So let's draw a rectangle. And this is what we have. Width, length, area. Okay? Now, whenever you have an area question, someone send me a cheat sheet. Yeah. Sucks not being in class.
Just hold it up to the camera so she can snap. Screenshot coming up.
All right, Karen, cheat sheet going at you. She said, wow. Yeah. Gotta have fun. Tape it to the camera, says Matthew. Okay. So Karen and Sonia, I will. I think it's in the group chat, in the Facebook group. But if not, I'll upload it today. Don't worry. So every time you have an area question, draw the area. If they say triangle, draw the triangle. They say rectangle, draw the rectangle, and so on. Right? Then you put the numbers. Just like the steering wheel, they're going to give you 2 numbers to figure out the third. You guys got it so far? So, in this scenario, they said 100 feet wide by 200 feet deep. 100 feet wide, 200 feet deep. What you need to know is that if the numbers are outside the box, what do we do? Multiply. So go ahead, calculators. I'm going to show you how perfect this is. 100 times 200. 20,000. Okay? Now, if the question was, again, I'm going to give you 3 variables. If the question was, a lot that measures 100 feet wide and has a total area of 20,000 square feet, how deep is it? What we're going to do is we're going to divide the inside number by the outside number. And that's going to give you, what is it?
200.
200. Simple. If the question says, a 200 feet deep lot with an area of 20,000 square feet, how wide is it? Same concept. Inside number divides by outside number. What do we get? 100. Concept is the same. We have 3 elements. Outside is like the bottom from the steering wheel. Outside numbers is the bottom. So you multiply always. Inside number is like the top for the steering wheel. Always divides by the other numbers. Always. So area always divides by the other numbers to give you, by one number to give you the other. Okay? Another thing to remember, because we're going to highlight in a second, another thing to remember is that this number is always with. Always with. And this number always represents front foot or frontage. So every time they say 100 by 200, the first number is always the width. The first number is always the front foot. The first number is always the frontage. What does frontage mean? It means that this right here is the road, is the front of the lot. So when you draw something, make sure the first number always goes to the frontage, right here. First number, always.
So the first number will always be width.
First number is always width. You always draw it right there. First number is always front foot or frontage. So if somebody says length times width, they're wrong. For state exam purposes, even though the result is the same, for state exam purposes, it's always width times length. Why is this important? Because there's going to be a question in this chapter, there's going to be a question in the school exam, and there's definitely a question in the state exam. Properties being sold at $400 a front foot. What is the value of a property that measures 100 by 200? Now, if the question was $400 a front foot, per front foot, right? Do we need this number? No. Cross it out. Do we need this number? No. So why even calculate the area? It's front foot, so it's always this number times 100 feet. $400 times 100 feet. And that gives you the value of this lot. You got it? In certain subdivisions, because the length of the lot is always the same, that's how they're divided. They could be wider, but the front of the lot is the same, as an example. In that area, they are sold per front foot versus area. So it will be square feet, okay? All right, Matthew's saying no to me. Why are you saying no, Matthew? Oh, he agrees. Oh, you're agreeing to the fact that we don't need the 200 or we don't need the 20. Got it.
The delay is confusing.
No. You know what it is? That since I'm glancing but I'm not looking at it, and then when I get to it, right, it might have been from something before. So if you make a comment, just be a little bit more specific on the comment with a yes and a no, because I'm not always looking at it. So what was I saying here? The other thing you guys need to know is that this number, this inside number is always expressed in square feet. So, if they said half an acre, is that square feet? No. So you're going to need to figure out what half an acre is. First of all, how much is 1 acre?
43,560.
It says there, 43,560.
That's square feet. That's for square foot.
Correct. But it's also, if you guys look on the screen, 1 acre equals 4 squirrels going down Route 35 at 60 miles an hour. Look at that. So, Sandy. 4 squirrels, Route 35, 60 miles an hour, and they're going in one acorn car. Yeah. But there's more to this, because here's the thing.
Oh, okay.
They're going down to the beach, right? And the speed limit is 65. So imagine if the cops stop the squirrels. All hell breaks loose. Squirrels driving. So they got to keep it under the speed limit. So 4 squirrels going down to the beach.
Did he
He's
get
laughing.
lost?
He likes the squirrels. So 4 squirrels going down to the beach, Route 35, best spot to go, right? And they're going 60 miles an hour in an acorn car. So 1 acre is the 4 squirrels. Okay? So if it says the lot measures half an acre, then it's divided by 2, which will give you 28,780. Okay, square feet. You guys got it? You have to always bring it down to square feet. Very important. Tomorrow's mom's going to text me and says, he was cracking up. What were you saying? I was like, all right, questions? Process works, right? Okay. Steering wheel, rectangle, same thing. Please highlight exactly as it is here. We already said that first figure is always front feet. We already said that area is always expressed in square units. Hey, Matthew, just go to school and teach him about the steering wheel and the square method, okay?
Don't forget the squirrels.
Don't forget the squirrels until you teacher Bruno said so. He says, okay, don't do that. You guys highlighted? All right, so in school you guys learn for triangles, you learn the area of a triangle is its base times its height and then divide by 2.
Yeah.
Did they ever explain to you why divide by 2? Exactly. Probably, right? So, for now, I just want you guys to highlight this, and I'm going to show you, because it is in half, right? You divide by 2 because it is in half. Yeah, absolutely. Just highlight, there's a mistake in the book, so I want you guys to correct it. There's a few, but I'll correct it as we go, always. The 14th edition is about to come out, so hopefully they corrected some.
Did you take part in the corrections?
I'm sorry?
Did you take part in it?
Well, I'm always mentioning to them, even to PSI, I just followed up on something they had wrong in their national exam. So I'm waiting on them to give me the answer if they corrected it or not.
So the correct thing is to divide, not multiply.
Yeah, because 1,500 times 2 would not be 750. It would be 3,000. They just wanted to make sure you were paying attention. It's funny because they like correct 2 problems, but then they have 2 different ones. The typos. From the 12th edition, I said, hey, there's this issue. 13th edition comes along, they corrected 2 of the issues, but then they added more. Like in chapter 16, I told you to cross out a section because it's repeated. Why
Keep
just
on your
repeat?
toes.
Huh?
Keep on your toes.
Keeps me on my toes, but
It's so important they have to repeat.
yeah, that's what it was. All right, so let me show you about the triangles. Yes? He just said, I got something right. Wait, Bruno, never mind, after. After. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. going to draw two different types of triangles. Are these two triangles different? Yes, right? So, according to the book, for you to figure out about the triangles, I'm sorry?
My calculator
Your calculator?
is nuts.
Okay, actually, let me do something here. What are you calculating? All right. So these are two different types of shapes. What I want to show you guys is one thing. If we close this box, what do they look like? Rectangles.
And square.
So another rectangle, right? Rectangles and squares. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. The formula, and I'm going to erase it in a second, but the formula is base times height. How do we figure out the height? By making a cut right here. Okay? Same thing here. So it's base times height, and then divide by 2 equals area. What I'm going to show you something very, very simple. Isn't this right here the same thing as this? Like a mirror?
Yes.
Okay. Isn't this right here the same thing as this, but a mirror? What is missing? Half of it, right? That's why we put this imaginary line. It's missing half. Correct? So technically, a triangle is half of a rectangle or a square. So in real estate, bye Matthew, have a good night. So in real estate, we don't have to do anything complicated. So why would we have too many formulas for it? Let's make it simple. All you have to do is close the box like I did, and then you're going to write width times length equals area. But because it's a triangle, it's half of a square, and the formula is width times length divided by 2 equals area. Top part of this rectangle, because it's a half of a rectangle, we just divide by 2. The result is the same. So one formula, remember it's half of a square or rectangle, and you're good to go. You guys got it? Yes?
Yes.
It's the same thing as base times height, just let's not complicate things. It's in your cheat sheet. Okay? So we have rectangles, we have triangles. What about irregular shapes? Irregular shapes. How are we going to calculate this?
Imaginary line up.
Oh wait, You got two of you. Imaginary line, let's hold on to that. What were you
You
saying?
gotta do it twice. You gotta do the rectangle and then you gotta do the triangle.
So I don't have to do it twice, I just have to separate
Right.
into two known shapes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna put an imaginary line right here. Now we have two known shapes. We have a rectangle and we have a triangle. Great. Now the rectangle is easy because we have two numbers. We have 6 and we have 16.
Yes.
So the area is 6 times 16. So width times length, which equals 96 square feet. The question now is, we have 6, which is this right here, the height. What else we have? What is it?
20.
Four.
We have 4. I don't see a 4 there.
Oh, I'm saying
20.
you gotta-
Where's 20?
The length.
Let's go step by step. I know you guys got it, but let's go step by step. Why is it 4? What is the length? What is the 20?
Because it's 16.
If we close the box,
Yeah.
like I said earlier, when there's a triangle, just close the box. If you were to close the box, then the length of this thing would have been the same as the bottom, which is 20. So what is missing between what it could have been and what it is?
4 feet.
4 feet. Right? 4 feet. Now we have two numbers. We have 6 times 4. But a triangle is half, isn't it? So width times length divided by 2. And that's 12 square feet. So we were able to figure out the two separate areas. One is 96 square feet, the other one is 12 square feet. But is that the number we need?
No.
No, we need the total area. So to figure out the total area, what must we do? Add them together. So 96,
That's 12.
96 square feet, right?
Yes.
This is from the rectangle, plus 12 from the triangle equals 108 square feet. And that is the irregular shape total area. You guys got it?
Yeah.
So, whenever you have an irregular shape, divide it into smaller known shapes. Calculate the areas separately, and then just add them all together. Simple enough? Any questions here? Questions? Nope? All right. Cool. Since there are no questions, I just want you to highlight this on top. Okay. Ready? Highlight that. And then highlight at the bottom. It's just what we went over. Just highlight for now. You guys good? Yes?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
Because I'm done with my part. Now it's your part. So, I'm gonna end the live. But before I end the live, just want, because you guys are gonna take a quick break, refresh your memory before you do this. But I just want to show you what you're gonna do while we're not live for the next 45 minutes. You're going to go into the review questions at the end of this chapter, and this is the only thing we do in class. You're going to do the first question out of each section. So commissions, insurance and taxes, right? You do number 1, number 5, number 7, 11, 13. So it's divided into sections. Just do the first one of each section for the next 45 minutes. Hold on. First one of each section. If you want to circle them right now so you know which ones to do so you don't forget. If you finish before everybody else, just keep on going at it. When we come back, I'm going to go over the questions and the answers. Some of you will have it right, some of you will have it wrong, and I will go over and clarify anything that you have, any questions that you have, okay? Just one more note. Number 9, if you guys get to it, you need page 196. And that, if you have a question similar to that in the state exam, they will give you the chart that's on page 196. Okay? Yes?
Measurements, we have to know the acre.
It's on your cheat sheet.
Will we use this going to exam?
That's
Yep.
a whole lot of numbers to remember.
It's not. It's easy.
Oh,
That's why the process is simple. I gave you a cheat sheet. Process is simple. I gave you a cheat
But we
sheet.
can't take it to the
Listen to me. Just listen. The very last thing you do before you go into the exam is look at this. The very last thing you do is try to memorize as much as you can from this. The very first thing you do when you sit down at the exam, it's not even look at the computer, it's look at the piece of paper, the blank piece of paper they gave you, and try to write down as much as you can remember. You do what I'm telling you, and this will be easy. Okay? All you have to remember really is this, because this you know at that point.
But we're gonna need the cubic jar, right?
I put it there, but you don't need it now. You guys good?
Yes.
All right. So if you guys want, take your break right now. If you guys want to start doing it, you can. I'm going to end the live. We'll be back in 45 minutes.